before fusion cuisine became a buzzword on every foodie app. At 52, she was a master chef whose hands bore the scars of a lifetime wielding knives and flames. Tiny nicks from julienning chilies in her abuela's cramped Mexico City apartment, burns from the sizzle of woks in bustling New York brasserie lines. Born to immigrant parents who ran a modest taqueria in East Los Angeles, Elena had turned her family's simple recipes into a culinary empire. She was the architect behind Vasquez Fusion, the family-run restaurant chain that blended Mexican soul with Asian precision, Italian flair, and American boldness. Her signature dish, the chili dragon roll, a tempura-wrapped burrito stuffed with spicy chorizo, mango habanero salsa, and truffle-infused rice, had gone viral on TikTok years before influencers discovered it, propelling the chain from one hole-in-the-wall spot to 15 locations across California. But Elena wasn't just a chef, she was a mentor, an innovator, and a quiet revolutionary. Standing at 5 feet 4 inches with salt and pepper curls tied back in a practical bun, her warm brown eyes could spot a flawed emulsion from across a prep station. She had mentored a dozen young cooks, many from underserved communities, teaching them not just knife skills but resilience in an industry that chewed up dreamers. Yet, beneath her unassuming apron, Elena harbored a fierce intellect. In her off hours, she tinkered in a home kitchen rigged like a mad scientist's lab. pH meters for sauces, digital scales for spice ratios, notebooks filled with equations for flavor balance. At 50+, she was at her peak, but the food world prized youth. Tattooed TikTok stars with 20-second recipes, not seasoned women who understood the poetry of patience. Elena's story isn't just about food. It's about reclaiming what's yours after it's been stolen, recipes, respect, and a lifetime of sweat. What follows is her revolution, served hot. The recipe revolution, the scent of cumin and sesame oil hung heavy in the air of Vasquez Fusion's flagship kitchen in downtown LA. A symphony Elena had conducted for 25 years. It was a Thursday evening rush, the kind where orders flew like confetti. Chili dragon rolls sizzling on the line, tables of influencers snapping pics for their feeds. Elena wiped her brow with a forearm scarred from a rogue mandolin years back, calling out adjustments to her sous chef Marco. More lime in the salsa, more. It's flat like yesterday's soda. Marco, a lanky 28-year-old with a sleeve of tattoos depicting mythical chilies, nodded and tweaked the bowl. He was one of Elena's proudest finds, plucked from a community college culinary program where he'd been flipping burgers to pay tuition. "Boss, you ever think about bottling this stuff? We'd crush the market." Elena chuckled, plating a perfect roll with tweezers-like precision. "One empire at a time, Marco. Besides, family recipes stay in the family." That was the mantra of Vasquez Fusion, passed down from her late father, who had built the first location with calloused hands and unyielding optimism. Now the chain was a $50 million beast, but the heart, Elena's heart, remained in the kitchen. Or so she thought. The call came the next morning, as Elena sipped black coffee in her modest Echo Park bungalow. Her phone buzzed with her nephew Javier's name, CEO of Vasquez Fusion since he'd modernized the business 5 years ago. Javier was 35, sharp-suited, with a Wharton MBA and a penchant for buzzwords like disrupt and pivot. Family, sure, but ambition had sharpened his edges. "Tia Elena," his voice crackled, too polished. "Need you in the office. Board meeting. Urgent." She arrived at the corporate headquarters, a sleek glass tower in Century City that Javier had insisted on, far from the gritty charm of the original taqueria. The conference room overlooked the Hollywood Hills, but the view did little to soften the blow. Javier sat at the head of the table, flanked by his sister Carla, Elena's niece, now VP of Marketing, and a stone-faced HR rep named Lydia. The air smelled of stale donuts, not spices. "Tia," Javier began, his tie a slash of crimson, "Vasquez Fusion is evolving. The market's shifting, Gen Z wants quick, Instagrammable bites. Youthful energy. We've appreciated your foundational contributions, but the board's decided to restructure the culinary team." Elena's stomach tightened, but her face remained a mask of calm. She'd seen layoffs in the '08 crash, watched friends fold under restaurant pandemics. "Restructure how, Mijo?" Carla slid a folder across the polished oak. "We're consolidating R&D under a new head of innovation. Someone with fresh perspectives. Your role, it's being phased out. Effective immediately." The folder held the usual corporate poison. 6 months severance, generous, they claimed. Cobra for health, a non-compete clause that barred her from similar concepts for 2 years. Inside, buried in legalese, was the kicker. a new proprietary recipe Bible crediting Vasquez Fusion as the sole owner of all dishes developed during her tenure. No mention of Elena Vasquez, the woman who'd spent sleepless nights perfecting the chili dragon's balance of heat and sweet. They expected tears, protests, the hysterical anti-trope. Instead, Elena nodded, her voice steady as a simmering stock. I understand. Business is business. Relief washed over their faces. Javier's shoulders sagged, Carla's manicured nails tapped relief. As she rose, Javier added, clean out your locker by end of day. We'll announce the transition tomorrow. Oh, and Tia, keep it quiet. Family first. Family. The word tasted bitter, like over-reduced demi-glace. What they didn't know, what Elena had pieced together weeks ago from a misfiled email chain, was that this wasn't just ageism. It was theft. Javier had been shopping the chili dragon formula to a meal kit giant, pitching it as in-house innovation. No credit to her. And the non-compete? A cage to keep her from starting anew while they profited off her life's work. But Elena wasn't one to burn bridges without a plan. For months in her home kitchen, she'd been iterating. The original chili dragon was genius but flawed, too labor-intensive for scaling, the tempura soggied after 10 minutes. On her own time, with her own gear, a second-hand sous vide from a garage sale, a spice grinder bought with birthday cash, she'd refined it. A flash-fried hybrid wrap using molecular gastronomy tricks. A yuzu gel encapsulating the salsa for burst-on-bite freshness, boosting shelf life by 300%. Timestamps in her encrypted drive, witnesses, her neighbor, a retired food critic who'd taste-tested. All documented. And the patent? Filed last month under culinary composition and method for flavor-encapsulated fusion dishes. Food formulas weren't traditional IP, but with Javier's corner-cutting lawyer, a favor from a golf buddy, Elena had looped in a shark from Silicon Alley specializing in gastropatents. Granted in record time, Vasquez encapsulation technique, hers alone. She left the tower without a backward glance, but her mind raced. Dinner that night. A call to Sophia Chun, founder of BiteByte, the hottest gourmet app startup disrupting meal delivery. Sophia, 42 and fierce, had poached Elena's advice at a Women in Food panel last year. Elena, if you're serious about that encap tech, we need you. Head of Culinary Innovation. Equity, royalties, the works. Send the papers, Elena replied, her voice a purr. And make it exclusive licensing. They want my recipe? They pay for the upgrade. By Friday, Elena's locker was cleared. Faded photos of her first kitchen crew, a dog-eared notebook of abuela's moles, the engraved rolling pin from her team. Whispers followed her out. Line cooks texting hearts, Marco slipping her a USB of backup recipes, code for loyalty. Javier's announcement email hit inboxes at noon. Exciting changes. Welcoming young gun chef Tyler Voss as our new visionary lead. Tyler Voss, 26, Top Chef runner-up, all flash and no depth. Elena smiled as she drove home. Young blood? More like diluted sauce. Monday dawned with the precision of a mise en place. Elena slipped into a tailored black chef's coat, her power armor, over silk blouse and slacks. BiteByte's HQ was a converted warehouse in Silver Lake, buzzing with coders and creatives, not the sterile cubicles of Century City. Sophia greeted her with a bone-crushing hug. The press release drops at 8 a.m. BiteByte secures game-changing patent for fusion meals, welcomes creator Elena Vasquez as head of innovation. We own the rights, exclusive for 2 years. Vasquez Fusion? They'll need our blessing to keep slinging those rolls. The release was a masterpiece. Bullet points on the patent's edge, longer freshness, scalable for apps. Elena's bio as trailblazing Latina chef revolutionizing global flavors, and a teaser. Any existing products using derivative tech must license or innovate anew. By 9 a.m., food blogs lit up. Eater, Vasquez patent bombshell. Is Family Feud behind the flip? Inside BiteByte's open kitchen lab, Elena met her new team. Sophia's devs tweaking an AR recipe scanner, a nutritionist geeking over macros. Her phone buzzed first from Marco, chaos at VF. Javier's screaming. What did you do? Then Sophia, licensing inquiries pouring in. HelloFresh wants a deal. And Vasquez just called. Panicked. Elena typed back to Marco, check your inbox. Offers for you and the crew. Senior dev roles here. Bring your knives. Across town, Vasquez Fusion's boardroom was a war zone. Javier paced, phone glued to ear, Carla scrolling damage control tweets. The stock, privately held but investor-backed, wobbled as whispers hit venture chats. Tyler Voss, the golden boy, stared at his untouched espresso, muttering, "I can't recreate that encap without the formula. It's sorcery." Lydia from HR forwarded the release. Ownership dispute? We assumed all recipes were company IP. Assumed? Javier exploded. Tia filed what? On her own time? Call the lawyers. But Elena's docs were ironclad. Logs showing home experiments post 9 to 5, no company tools used. The patent stood. By noon, Elena's first meeting at BiteByte was electric. "Team," she said, sketching on a digital whiteboard, "the encapsulation technique isn't just for rolls. Imagine it in Curry's Sushi Burritos Global Kits. We scale this, we own meal tech." Nods all around, respect, not the eye rolls she'd endured at family dinners. Marco's reply, "We're in. Whole crew. Starting next week." Hashtag Team Elena. The hook was set. That evening, Elena posted her first personal Insta story. A slow MO of the new Chili Dragon 2.0 bursting with gelled salsa, captioned hashtag Own Your Recipe, because what you create, you control. Who's with me? It was subtle, a seed. But Sophia's marketing was amplified it. Targeted ads to foodie groups, collabs with Latina influencers. By Wednesday, hashtag Own Your Recipe trended, chefs sharing stories of stolen credit, home cooks venting about family business betrayals. A viral thread from a NYC pastry chef. "My grandma's pie? Branded by my cousin's startup. No royalties. Elena's right, time to patent our souls." Vasquez Fusion felt the heat first. A major investor pulled funding, citing IP vulnerabilities. Then clients. 2 LA locations reported 30% dips as diners hashtag Boycott Vasquez, sharing side-by-sides of soggy old rolls versus Elena's crisp patent teas. Javier's all-hands call was leaked. "This is temporary. Tyler's got ideas." But Tyler quit by Friday, poached by a rival. Elena, meanwhile, thrived. BiteByte's app beta launched with her tech. Subscribers unboxed kits that self-assembled via app-guided encap pops. Fun, fresh, foolproof. Reviews poured in. Finally, restaurant quality at home. Thanks, Elena V. Royalties ticked up, her equity vested. Marco and the crew arrived Monday, turning the lab into a familia reunion. "Tia." "No, boss," Marco grinned, "this kitchen feels right." The boycott swelled. Hashtag Own Your Recipe hit 500K posts, spawning a podcast series Elena guested on. From kitchen slave to flavor queen. Women chefs unionized online, filing micropatents for heirloom tweaks. Vasquez's stock tanked 40%. Javier's board ousted him in a midnight coup. Carla called Elena tearfully. "Tia, we messed up. Can we talk licensing?" "Through lawyers, Mija," Elena replied coolly. "And a public nod to the creator? Non-negotiable." The deal closed at triple market rate, with a presser crediting Elena. Vasquez survived, humbled. Youthful menu intact, but soulless without her spark. 6 months later, BiteByte went global. Tokyo Kits fusing Elena's technique with ramen, Mumbai with butter chicken burritos. Valued at $200 million, Sophia toasted at the launch gala. To Elena, the woman who taught us, recipes aren't just food. They're revolution. Elena raised her glass, eyes on Marco leading the line. At 52, she wasn't done. Her next patent? A flavor AI for personalized spice maps. But for now, the world tasted sweeter.